think garlic bread is pretty universal. There aren't many people that I know who don't love it. However, today I'm going to show you 3 different recipes. One is fast, one is medium, and one is for when you have guests over. But more importantly, all 3 of these recipes taste completely different. They only share the fact that they have garlic in them, but they're all delicious. With that, let's get started. So the first one is when you are craving garlic bread and you just want it quick and fast. Usually you keep your butter in the fridge, so we're going to break up some butter, put it in the microwave for 20 seconds, and then we're going to apply it down to the bread. This is what you're looking for. So the butter is really soft, but it's not all melted. You can still apply this with a spatula onto the bread. Next, we're going to cut the bread in half. I like the baguette because it gives it a nice crunch. There we go. Cut that in half. Take a bit of that butter and generously apply a layer on all the sides. We want the top of this bread to be crispy, so you can either put it in a toaster oven or you can put it in an air fryer, and or you can of course put it in the oven at about 350, 400 degrees. Let that become really crispy on top because we're going to need that for the next part. So my bread is out of the toaster. Time to cut a fresh piece of garlic in half so you have that raw edge exposed, and rub it against the really crusty surface. And you're just going to get a hint of that garlic right on top there. You can see it shredding right into the bread. It's smelling absolutely delicious because the bread is nice and warm and it's heating up that garlic. To give it a hint of a cheesy flavor, I'm going to put some hard cheese on top. You can put whatever cheese you like. Just a little bit of cheese. And if you have a minute while this is toasting up, I made a little bruschetta, just some tomatoes, olive oil, and a little bit of basil, salt, and pepper. And it's done. I'm actually salivating. It looks and smells so delicious. I'm going to take a bite. Really good. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Our second garlic bread is a cheesy garlic bread with herbs. Let's start off by cutting some parsley really small. You don't want the stems, so try and pull off as many of the leaves as possible. I'm using the flat parsley rather. And we're going to chop it up as small as possible, as fine as possible, because this is going to go right into the butter and we're going to mix it into the butter. So now we're going to take these herbs, parsley, and put it right into the butter. Next, I'm going to take some garlic that I've peeled and I'm going to grate it right into that butter as well. We don't want big chunks, and hence the reason we're grating it into the butter. I'm going to do 2 cloves. So we're hoping that everybody at the table is eating garlic bread. Oops. Okay, now give it a really good mix. If you haven't used salted butter, then you want to put some salt into this as well. Take the time to really mix the butter through and through so that you don't have big clumps of garlic stuck in any part of it. It looks to me like this is really well mixed. Next, we're going to spread it right onto the bread. We're going to put a nice generous layer of butter right on there. That herb butter is going to sink right in, and we're going to put it in the toast oven between 6 and 8 minutes. Keep a close eye on it because you certainly don't want to burn it. While the bread's in the toaster oven, I'm going to grate some Monterey Jack cheese. It just gives it so much flavor. But you certainly can use mozzarella cheese, cheddar cheese, actually any cheese that you prefer works perfectly. Grate it on the fine grater and it comes out so much nicer. I really think you can never have too much cheese, so I always grate more than enough in case other people want to put more cheese on later on. The garlic bread is about 75% done. It's time to add the cheese right on top. We're going to put it back in for another 2 to 3 minutes. Take a look at it bubbling away. How delicious does this look? Now, don't take a bite right away because it is piping hot. We're going to leave it for a hot second. Our third delicious garlic bread is going to take a little bit more time. However, you can prepare it ahead of time. And it is called spicy cheesy garlic bread that is super delicious. It's going to take us no longer than 10 minutes to prep. Let's get to it. We're going to start by cutting our bread, which I've just already done, using a serrated knife. I cut at an angle and down the middle. And then you're going to see that you have layers and layers of slices with an angle on them. Next, put it on a parchment paper and right onto a baking sheet. I melted some more butter, and of course I'm using the same concept as I did in the second one, which is a herb butter with garlic. I added to that some chili oil. You can use as little or as much as you want. The spice really makes a big difference here. Keep on stirring so that you get this consistency. Next, we're going to apply it right onto the bread. So you start off by taking a generous amount onto your spatula and smearing it right onto the bread, just like that. The reason we cut it on an angle is so that the butter wouldn't just slip right off to the bottom, but rather it stays right on the bread. I'm going to flip it around so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So now I'm going to add a little bit of cheese in between every slice, and it adds to the effect when we're pulling it apart. It also makes it absolutely delicious. I continue to use either mozzarella or Monterey Jack or a combination of both. It really enhances the spicy flavor of the butter. This is what you should end up with. This is ready to go. You can put it in the oven right now for about 15 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. Alternatively, you can do this ahead of time and just put it in the fridge, leave it, and when you're ready to serve, put it in the oven 15 to 20 minutes ahead of that. If you are using it for later and you're going to make this ahead of schedule, then make sure you wrap it with some cling film so that it stays fresh. There are two ways that you can tell that this loaf is done. One, the kitchen smells absolutely delicious. And two, the timer went off. Time to pull it out. Oh my goodness, does that not look absolutely beautiful? Time to garnish it. Let's just do a few garnishes with a few bits of parsley and a little bit of the spicy chili. That sort of tells everybody that it's a little bit spicy. And with that, this is ready to serve. Garlic bread can be so much more than just garlic bread, given the fact that in just the last few minutes, we've made 3 different types, and I wish you'd try them because they taste completely different. I look forward to seeing you more by subscribing, and by hitting that notification. I can share with you so many more of my recipes that are easy, delicious, and most of them are healthy, not just yummy. See you soon.